Hello, good morning, children. So, this is our last chapter, I guess, from moral science. So, let's start. What is the name of the chapter? Who is my neighbors? Neighbors means पड़ोसी. In Hindi, what we call पड़ोसी, जो हमारे आसपास रहते हैं. Who is my neighbor? डू यू ऑल नो हु इज़ योर नेबर? आप लोगों को आपके पड़ोसी के साथ दोस्ती है? आप जानते हो कि पड़ोसी आपके कौन है, क्या है? सो लेट्स सी कि इस चैप्टर में क्या लिखा है. ओके, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट. There was once a man named Raju in a small town. He lived with his wife Geeta in a cottage. There was a man whose name was Ranju, not Raju, okay? Sorry. There was a small town. There was a man in a small town named Ranju who used to live with his wife named Geeta in a small cottage. Okay? Ranju and Geeta were very hardworking. Ranju and Geeta, they were very hardworking. They grew many things on their farm. So they were very hardworking. Okay. So they grew many things on their farm. They always made more than what they needed, unlike the others in the town. So they always made they always had more what they needed, unlike the others in the town. Means they were very hardworking. They used to grow things in their farms. For example, vegetables, you can say. They used to grow more than what they needed. How much they need, they used to grow more than that. More than that, like others, unlike other people in the town, but not like other people in the town. Other people, they used to grow how much they want, but Ranju and his wife, they used to grow more than they want. Okay. Sometimes people would go to them and ask food if their crops failed. No, for example, sometimes what happened, the other people in the town, they used to go to Ranju and Geeta to ask food if their crops failed. Okay, if they fail to grow something, vegetables, or you can say rice or something, and they used to go to whom? They used to go to Ranju and Geeta for asking the food. Ranju and Geeta were very kind to them. They never refused to give them food. And Ranju and Geeta, they, apart from hard work, they are very kind. They never say no to anyone in the town. They will always help. If someone has come for food, asking for food or something, they will always help them. They never say no to them. They always give food to them. Many years passed. This way, many years has passed. Ranju and Geeta became very old. Now, both of the husband and wife, they become old. They could not work hard as they used to. When they were young, they used to work very hard, isn't it? But now they became old, so they could not be able to work hard. They could hardly get enough to eat, and as they could not work very hard, so they get very less amount of food to eat. One day Ranju fell ill. His wife took good care of him. One day what happened, Ranju, the husband, became ill, and his wife Geeta, she was taking a good care of her husband. But his health did not improve. The money they had saved was all spent. Now, the money, how much money they had, it all spent on his husband. Now, they don't have money left, and the health of his husband was not improved. Geeta had to beg from the people in the town. Now Geeta had no other options because she is too old to do work, isn't it? Except begging, she has no other work. She has no other work to do. So she started begging from the people in the town, from the people in the town, the same town where they used to live, in the same people, from the same people where to whom they used to give food. Okay, she started begging in the same town where they used to live, and she started begging to those from those people who used to give whom they used to give food when their crops were failed. She went around the house to do so. She went every single house in the town to beg, but the people turned their heads away. But the same people whom they helped before, they are now turning their head away. They are refusing to help Ranju and his wife. They had forgotten the generosity and kindness of Ranju and Geeta did. Okay, now the people in the town, everybody, they forgot the generosity, the kindness which Ranju and his wife had shown to them when their crops were failed. Isn't it? जब उनके पास खाना नहीं था, Ranju and his wife, they used to give their crops, their food to them. Okay, they never say no to any of the people in the town. But now, when Ranju becomes sick and his wife begging from the people of the town, they all are refusing to give anything. They all are refusing to help them. Okay, a young man who was a visitor in the town noticed Geeta was helpless. A young man, a very young man who was a visitor in the town. He was not living in the town, but he came to visit on that town. Okay, he noticed that Geeta was helpless. He visited Geeta's husband. Then what happened? He visited to Geeta's house to see her husband. He bought them food and medicine. After that, that young man, what he did, he bought food and medicine to them, for them. He continued to stay with them. Then the young man, what he did, he continued to stay with them. He used to stay with Geeta and Ranju. No one was ready to help them, but a neighbor must be a person who understands our needs and come forward to help us in our needs. No one in the town were ready to help Geeta and Ranju. They forgot everything, every generosity and kindness what Geeta and Ranju had done in their life, isn't it? But that young man who was a visitor, he saw that these two old person were very helpless. He came forward, though he was not a neighbor, but he was a visitor. He came forward, he stayed with them, he helped them with food and medicine. What a neighbor should be, how a neighbor should be. A neighbor must be a person who understands our needs. When we are in need, हमारे जो पड़ोसी होते हैं वो कैसा होना चाहिए? When we are in need, he or she should understands our need and come forward to help us, isn't it? Every day we won't go to our neighbors for asking food, for asking things, isn't it? When we are in need, then only we went to neighbors or we went to someone to ask something. So if someone comes to you for help, for genuine help, then what is our duty? Being a good neighbor, it is our duty to help them. Okay, but it should be a genuine help. Okay, so here here in this chapter, how a neighbor should be, it indicates that a neighbor must be a person who understands our need and come forwards to help us in our needs. Means when we are in need, a neighbor must be a person who should come forward. to help us. Okay? So, in order to love God, we must love those who are in need. So, sometimes we feel like no, God always help us, but we cannot help God, we cannot see God. How can we love God? So, according to God, if you want to love me, God says, if you want to love me, then love the needy person. So here also it is written, if in order to love a God, if you want to love our God, then we must love those who are in need. जिसको ज़रूरत है उसको अगर हम हेल्प करेंगे तो गॉड को जैसे हम प्यार करते हैं वैसे ही उनको भी प्यार करना जैसा हो जाता है. If we will help the person who are in need, it means that we are loving our God. This is what the young man did, and this young man did the same. In this way, we show our love for God. The young man, what he did not know Ranju and Geeta, isn't it? But still, he helped them. He helped them as they were in need. He loved them, he takes care of them, isn't it? He takes care of them, and it means what? If we will take care the needy person, if we will love the needy person, if we will help the needy person, it means this is the way that we show our love towards God. Understood? And I think all of you have understood how a neighbor should be and how we should help the needy person. If we'll help the needy person, that means we are showing our love towards God. Okay? So I hope all of you have understood this chapter. And after watching this video, I want you all to read this chapter once again. Okay? Thank you, children.